Okay, we are finally going to finish going over this very long bankruptcy hearing for Ronn Owens and Jan Black / Elizabeth Naylor / whatever her name is this week. And they are the parents of Laura Owens, who, is facing 14 felony charges in Arizona. If you're watching this channel, you probably know that already, for her abusive scams against men in which she pretended they got her pregnant. Sorry, 1 second. I was echoing there. And she took them to court over fake babies, insisted under oath that she was pregnant when she knew she wasn't. Her family continues to say they believe she's innocent, even though they know that she used their other daughter's ultrasound and their other daughter's photos of Ron, the father, touching her pregnant belly. They know that wasn't Laura. They know. So when they pretend they believe their daughter's innocent, it's 100% fake. And this is a crime family, in my opinion, because this family has been doing some shady shit for a long time, and they are finally getting caught. So, for example, I will give you a recap of what we've gone over thus far, and then we only have about 30 minutes of the hearing to go through. We'll be done here before my friend Jack Fox's video on this premieres. Jack goes over the language of statements and tells you the kind of hidden meanings or understandings of what people are actually saying. If you haven't seen Jack yet, I'll send you guys over to him as soon as we're done here. So he's a cool guy, though. Hey, Bruce, what's up? Also, it is Sarah Dawn's birthday, if she's here. I don't know if she is or not. Happy birthday, Sarah. All right, let me give you a quick recap of what we heard so far. Here it is, okay?
Put the stuff together as fast as I could, as thorough as I could, and as transparent as I could. So...
Okay.
If you want to get the nuts and bolts on the GoFundMe, I can. I think that there are people on the line who are.
All right, enough. I can't, Miss Naylor. No, I'm not going to allow you to use this as a platform to just start going off. No, stop.
So that's about how things have been going so far. We have, I think, only like 30 minutes left in the hearing to go through. But, oh, hey, she is here. Jupiter Janes, a.k.a. Sarah Dunn. It is her birthday. So everybody say happy birthday to Sarah in the chat. Bruce especially better be saying happy birthday. All right, let's see. I'm going to get to about where we left off. It might be repeating a minute or so. I just might make sure we don't miss anything. Okay. And I think we're good to go here. Also, I saw somebody had in Warbeck 6891. Thank you for becoming a member of the channel. I appreciate that. Thank you. Just wanted to say that before we started. Okay, let's go.
The account.
I believe Wells Fargo closed the account.
Okay, and when do you believe they did that?
Around the time of the Chapter 13 filing. I don't have the exact date.
But you never.
I believe that they were listed. I think they were listed as a creditor that I put them like $218 or something.
Okay, well, they might have been listed as a creditor, but you never listed the account as having been closed within 1 year prior to the bankruptcy. Why not?
Well, again, because I didn't close it, I believe they did.
It doesn't matter.
And I don't know when.
It doesn't matter.
But I don't know.
You were required. Let me just tell you, you were required to disclose. Let's see, I can give you the exact wording. Within 1 year before the bankruptcy, were any financial accounts held in your name or for your benefit closed, sold, moved, or transferred. It doesn't say did you, it say were any accounts closed, and you did not disclose the Wells Fargo account, correct?
I think we all know this by now, but this family likes to feign ignorance a lot, and they get away with as much as they can. They like to pretend they didn't know things were due on certain dates, even though there are transcripts of hearings where they were told explicitly and agreed that they understood. So I'd assume this is another one of those situations. She was asked multiple times to get her laptop so she could have her documents in front of her while Jennifer, the DOJ attorney, is questioning her here, and she basically refused. Tried to stall, change the subject, never got the computer. Now these people are going to have to be deposed for 8 hours, which they deserve.
Correct?
Correct.
And that's a false statement because there was an account that was closed in your name.
Okay.
Is that right?
Okay.
Yes, yeah. Again, I never got any notification that they had closed it or anything like that, but whatever you say.
Wait, if she never got any notification they closed it, then wouldn't she think it was an open account, and then wouldn't she still have to disclose it? Am I crazy? Y'all have to let me know.
All right, so you paid between May of 2025 and May of 2026, you made $21,000 of payments to your daughter, Sarah, correct?
Uh-huh.
And yes, I need an actual answer. No noises.
No noises.
Yes.
Okay. So can you tell me what was the purpose?
Let me run that back.
You paid between May of 2025 and May of 2026, you made $21,000 of payments to your daughter, Sarah, correct?
Uh-huh.
And yes, I need an actual answer. No noises.
No noises.
Yes.
Okay. So can you tell me what was the
God, it's like being scolded when you're being babysat by your grandmother. Like, this is terrible.
What was the purpose of those payments?
Those payments were made, they were reimbursements to her. She is a co-signer on our mortgage, and she had advanced her own funds to keep our HELOC, our basic utilities, and our life insurance, and in some cases food costs paid because we were strapped for cash.
Okay, so that was a favor, right? But they have creditors they have to pay back. Why not pay your mortgage first? You should have been upfront with your daughter, like, we can't afford to pay you back right now. It's going to be a while. We'll have to wait till we're out of bankruptcy, right? But what did Sarah do with that money, I wonder? Did she use it to pay for Laura's criminal attorney? I certainly think so, but I can't prove it. That's just speculation.
Okay.
And so once we had leased out the pony,
let me ask you, can I ask you something? You paid $21,000 to your daughter. Why didn't you take that money and pay it over to the mortgage to prevent the foreclosure?
Because it wouldn't have done anything to prevent the foreclosure.
Well, it sounds like you're just accepting that there's going to be a foreclosure. Is that fair to say? Because you're not doing anything to try to fix it, but by paying it.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We're not accepting that there's going to be a foreclosure. But as I say, it was clear from the statements that from the communication that we had received from the servicer that $20,000 was not going to be enough to prevent the foreclosure. So it wouldn't have done anything. And
you keep saying that, but if you add up all of these amounts, then maybe it would have done something. I mean, you decided to pay your daughter instead of the mortgage on your home that's now in foreclosure. I mean, that's what you did, right?
Yikes.
No, she was a lifeline, and she was a co-signer on that, and she had made some HELOC payments, and that was to, help us.
Well, if she is also on the loan or on the mortgage, whatever you call it, then it is her responsibility to make those payments. She knows when she signed on to, whatever you guys were doing with the house, that she was going to have to make payments if you didn't. So that's her responsibility. That's not like, I pat, your back, you pat mine. No, she can go ahead and do her business and pay for the things that she owes legally. And you guys still have to fulfill your obligations to your creditors.
With the mortgage as well, and she had advanced her own money, and as I say, that she had been.
I understand why you did it. I understand what you're saying, but the fact of the matter is, you chose to pay over $20,000 to your daughter instead of paying that money over to the mortgagee. on the home. You made that choice, correct?
We were in.
I'm not asking. I need a yes or no answer. Is that the choice you made? It wasn't a choice that was foisted upon you by someone else. You chose to pay your daughter instead of the mortgage directly.
I mean, it's probably foisted upon them by their other daughter, who desperately needs an attorney who is a public defender for her criminal case, where she's totally fucked for the first time, apparently, because she lies about, every other time that's happened.
Correct? You made that choice. I'm asking you, did you make that choice? Yes or no? No, it's a yes or no question, Miss Naylor. What did you or did you not make the decision to pay your daughter to reimburse her instead of pay the mortgage on your home?
That wouldn't have paid the mortgage on.
I'm not asking that. I'm not asking that. I'm asking you chose, did you not, to pay your daughter to reimburse her over $20,000 of money instead of paying that money to the mortgagee?
Good
Is that right?
That's
what
really
you did.
Question.
Just admit that that's what you did, because I don't know how you deny that you made that choice, because that's what you did, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
But again,
there you go. I don't want to hear the explanation. I don't need an explanation. I just wanted you to acknowledge that that's what you did.
That's
all right.
I
don't think, there's a couple of questions, they're little questions, but I do think we're going to have you come in for a deposition, because I can't have you sent me a document that says accounting of GoFundMe funds. And you acknowledge that you sent that to me, right?
Right.
And now you're claiming that you think it was supposed to be an accounting of how all of your money was expended over the 18-month period from January 1st of 2025 through June. That's what you're saying that you intended the accounting to be?
My understanding was that the judge had talked about GoFundMe and that you had talked about GoFundMe as well, that you had brought up these other issues, and the judge did not clarify whether she only had wanted the GoFundMe information. So I wanted to be very transparent and to leave no questions unanswered.
Okay, but the bottom line is you provided me with a document that you titled Accounting of GoFundMe Funds, right?
Correct.
Okay. And I read that to mean that you were going to that what you provided me was an itemization of how you specifically used the $132,000 GoFundMe monies that you received. That's how I interpreted it. Is that wrong that I interpreted it like that?
No.
Okay, so what you provided me shows how you used the money, the $132,000 of GoFundMe funds, correct?
Correct.
And then if you look at it, you say that the total of GoFundMe funds was about $132,000, and you actually give me an itemization of expenditures totaling about $144,000, right?
Uh-huh.
Is that correct? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. So are you now telling me that you're admitting that what you gave me, the $144,000 of itemized expenditures, was what you claim the GoFundMe funds were used for? Is that what you're saying?
There wasn't $144,000 coming into the GoFundMe, so that the $144,000 in expenditures had obviously included other money that had come into our account from pension and Social Security, and was not just GoFundMe.
Okay. So why did you give me an itemization of expenditures that totaled $144,000? Why didn't you give me an itemization of expenditures that totaled the amount of the GoFundMe funds?
I'm so sorry. Could you start again? I accidentally hit a button that muted you on.
Sure.
my phone.
Yes,
I asked him, why did you give me an itemization?
Wait a minute. Okay, wait a minute. Let me dial it back a second here. That's a little too far. I sincerely doubt that.
2000, and you actually give me an itemization of expenditures totaling about 144,000, right? Is that correct? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. So
no noises.
Are you now telling me that you are admitting that what you gave me, the $144,000 of itemized expenditures, was what you claim the GoFundMe funds were used for? Is that what you're saying?
There wasn't $144,000 coming into the GoFundMe, so that the $144,000 in expenditures had obviously included other money that had come into our account from pension and Social Security, and was not just GoFundMe.
Okay. So why did you give me an itemization of expenditures that totaled 140?
I almost feel like we had this discussion in the beginning of this hearing, but there's just like so many more questions. I guess she has to ask them about this, and maybe she decided to take a break and circle back when Jan was refusing to get her laptop and refusing to answer questions, especially in that clip I showed you in the beginning was when Jan was suggesting that she didn't want to get into the nuts and the bolts of the GoFundMe because of the people that were on the line. These are public proceedings. They entered into this knowing that it was a federal court process and that those are public proceedings. So that's not an excuse.
44,000. Why didn't you give me an itemization of expenditures that totaled the amount of the GoFundMe funds?
I'm so sorry. Could you start it again? I accidentally hit a button that muted you on
sure.
my phone.
That is like
I asked him, why did you give me an item?
That is the one and only time you can use that trick. So you better have been worth it.
Itemization of expenditures that totaled $144,000 and not just give me an itemization of expenditures that corresponded to the total GoFundMe funds.
Because I wanted to be very transparent and show you everything that had come in, and
take a shot every time these people say transparent. They're not being transparent. They're obfuscating and muddying the waters and trying to make it confusing and trying to act like they don't understand what's going wrong here. Nah.
Gone out.
Okay.
In that time period.
Okay.
You know, like I say, we're talking about more money than the GoFundMe received.
And I understand what you're saying, but I'm going to tell you something after having gone through your bank statements, okay?
Here we go.
The spending that you and Mr. Owens expended, the total disbursements out of all of your accounts for the time period from December 27th, 2024 through June 25th, 2026, the total disbursements is over $523,000. Did you know that?
That is a fuck ton of money.
That doesn't sound right. For a year and a half.
Okay.
You know, like I say, we're talking about more money than the GoFundMe received.
And I understand what you're saying, but I'm going to tell you something after having gone through your bank statements, okay?
This is crazy.
The spending that you and Mr. Owens expended, the total disbursements out of all of your accounts for the time period from December 27th, 2024 through June 25th, 2026, the total disbursements is over 500.
That's December and June is 6 months. No, that's 18 months. I'm sorry. I thought 2025 to 26. No, 24 to 26. That's 18 months.
And $23,000. Did you know that?
That doesn't sound right.
These people have known for a while that they were spiraling down a hole that was going to end, and this is being the best case scenario where they're in a bankruptcy. They've known that for a long time. They've known they didn't actually have the funds to do what they were doing. They could be living a very good life on the money they have coming in every month, but yet they decided to enable their daughter's criminal schemes. And apparently they've been dishonest in their own finances and potentially in their taxes with their businesses and dishonest with their business income potentially. And It's bizarre. Don't play stupid now. You're going to get caught, and it's not going to work. You're not going to be able to your way out of this one. You have to answer to it.
For a year and a half.
That is, well, you might not think it sounds right, but that's what out from all disbursements out of just account 0140 totaled over $523,000. Just out of that one account. So you were not trying to give me transparency of all disbursements because you only told me about $144,000.
But we gave you every statement.
Mary Smith says, I would run to the store, buy a laptop, set it up to get the docs before I would answer Jennifer that way. Jan be nuts. Or hear me out, send your adult daughter who does not work and lives with you and you pay for everything that she does to the store to get a laptop and come back. Except the thing is, Jan's laptop was probably right there. She just didn't want to get it.
Right, but I'm talking about the accounting you gave me. So I'm trying to figure out what it was you were trying to give me with this accounting. You're claiming you were You're saying that you
were trying to give you the specific GoFundMe in and the GoFundMe out.
But you gave me but now when I ask you about that, you're pointing out that the itemization of expenditures was $144,000 worth of expenditures, which is more than the $132,000 of GoFundMe funds. So I'm trying to figure out why you would provide me with a list of payments in excess of the GoFundMe funds if you were trying to just account for the GoFundMe funds. I'm trying to figure that out. I don't understand it.
I mean, just to show you if there was the commingling or whatever, that you could clearly see, this was GoFundMe, this came into 0349, this then went to 0140, and then it went to pay X, that you could see what had gone out to pay that month.
Okay, well, I'm telling you that clearly you decided to just pick a selecting number, because in that time period that covers this accounting that you gave me, there were actually $523,000 of total disbursements from your account 0140. So you
have a year and a half.
Yeah, but that was the account that covered this accounting that you provided me.
Right. And so if you figure our pension and Social Security.
No. Wait, back up. I don't want to talk about the income. I'm just talking about the fact that you clearly weren't trying to give me a itemization of all of your expenditures in that time period, because it was well in excess of $144,000. So to the extent,
but
I understand that I understand, but here's the thing, Mrs. Naylor or Mrs. Owens, if you were going to just try to itemize or correspond the GoFundMe funds and give me an itemization of how those monies were spent, you would have given me an itemization of expenditures that totaled the amount of GoFundMe funds, right? I mean, wouldn't that have been the logical thing to do?
Well, yeah.
Okay, but you didn't do that. You didn't do that. Instead, you gave me this random number of expenditures, $144,000, right? So it was like $12,000 more than what you needed to account for.
It's kind of like when they ballparked the amount of money they gave to Laura. She's like, where did you come up with this exact figure? Oh, it's a ballpark. No. You don't do a ballpark in proceedings like this.
And now when I asked you about it, you said, well, I wanted to show you all the expenditures during that entire period. But that can't be true, because you had, in just one account, there were over $500,000 of disbursements. So I just want you to be clear about what we're talking about here. And I think what we're going to have to do is get you in for a deposition where I can put these documents in front of you, documents that you signed under oath. We talked about.
She has to babysit them. She has to babysit them because otherwise they'll try to get away with everything they can. Like she has to sit them down in a room and put these documents in front of them, because God knows they're probably not going to bring them themselves, even if they're asked to, and force them to answer questions about the things that they filed and signed to under penalty of perjury.
I mean, there were clear contradictions between what you said under oath in the Chapter 13 and what you filed on May 22nd in this case, and then what you filed yesterday. Clear contradictions where they just don't jive. And I know you're trying to say, well, I didn't understand that, but it was the same exact forms and you have totally different answers. So clearly, without you sitting in front of me with those documents in front of you, I'm not going to be able to fully and properly examine you on these things. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to do a Rule 2004 exam. I will send that out, and I'm going to ask for additional documentation from you.
So that will not be a public proceeding. You know, these things we've been able to listen in on, that will be a private deposition. I know I've heard people say that can be FOIA'd after the fact, but I think a lot of times, even if you send a FOIA request for certain things like a deposition, you don't necessarily get them. You know, like we've never seen Laura's full deposition publicly. I don't think we've ever seen a copy of that publicly, and I know people have asked for it. So there are certain things that you're not always privy to. So we can try to get it, but I would say it's not necessarily a done deal that people are going to be able to see what happens there. You just kind of have to wait and find out what the results of that are. And I don't know when it is. So, but they did say they wanted to do it before a certain date. So I believe it has to be within the next couple of weeks.
About some of the things we talked about today. So I guess since you're on the line and we're going to conclude the 341, why don't you give me an idea? I mean, we have this hearing on, when is the hearing on this case?
My understanding was that the next hearing, the dismissal hearing on August the 6th.
Okay.
The 6th. Okay.
So I believe that was the date by which they wanted to do this exam.
That's right. So
you mentioned something on the 27th. And
I'm sorry, I was incorrect about that. Yeah, I was incorrect. Sorry. All right. So
okay.
It is now the 16th. Can you tell me what your availability is to come into my office face to face and do a deposition, like over the next few weeks?
Let me go and get my calendar. Can you hang on?
Actually, you know what? That's fine. I thought you might know it. Right. Why don't we do this? We will conclude.
She doesn't even know what she wrote in the document she submitted yesterday. I'm sure she doesn't know what today's date is. I'm like, oh my God.
This matter, and then you can send me an email and tell me precisely the dates that you're available, and we can go from there. And I'll set it. But I'll have to file my Rule 2004 request.
Okay.
All right. So I think that's it. I mean, there's no creditors on the line, so I am going to conclude this matter, and we will go off the record, and I will wait to hear from.
You know, if they ended up saying that the people who donated to the GoFundMe would be creditors, I would be a creditor. Just throwing that out there. Because they donated under Chase J. Jones. Wasn't a lot of money, but I would like it back, please.
You by email about when we can set up your deposition. Okay.
Okay. How long do those usually take, and what date would you like to have it done by?
I think it would be better to have it before the continued hearing. So if we can do it before August 6th, that would be best. So that's number one. Number two, the length of these often depends upon the cooperation of the witness and the witness being candid and forthright. When witnesses...
That's why it's supposed to take so long in this case. Listen, Laura skipped her deposition the first time around when she was in Clayton's case. And it wasn't until the second time that she actually showed up. So I wouldn't be surprised if they put this off and tried to pretend they didn't understand they were supposed to be there that day. But hopefully they'll just show up because they're seeing that the jig is up. Laura's getting caught for her antics, and this lady is not taking their bullshit when it comes to pretending they don't know what's going on.
Try to be evasive and explain away things without answering straightforward questions. Typically, they are longer, sort of like this 341 meeting. So I'd like to, have you come in, and then we can just kind of go through the documents. I'll have them right in front of you, and then we can try to get to the bottom of this. And, you know, at some point, Ms. Naylor and Mr. Owens, you're going to have to acknowledge that there were false statements made. I know you want to try to explain away the false statements, but you know, by looking at your various pleadings filed under oath, you can't deny that you previously made false statements under oath. I mean, is that fair to say that you have to admit that there were false statements under oath in your prior pleadings? Will you at least
like mother, like daughter, right?
Admit that?
Yeah, yes. I mean, you know, as I say, a lot of this was you know, lack of understanding or what was actually being asked and what was necessary to, you know, to file. And
okay.
No, I don't think that's going to work. I don't think that's going to work.
So, but the problem with that explanation is that you had an attorney assisting you in the Chapter 13. So that doesn't really work for the Chapter 13 omissions.
It was a very brief, well.
Okay, so we'll just leave it at that, and I'll delve into that further at the deposition. We will conclude this matter and go off the record. Okay, I'm off the record, and thank you very much. And I'll wait to hear from you so that we can schedule your exam.
Okay, but just one thing. I mean, should we plan on an hour, 2 hours? What?
Oh, I would set aside 8 hours because that's what I'm allowed to do.
8 hours?
Well, that's, like I said,
8 hours. 8 hours. Oh, who will shovel all the horse shit while we're gone?
Ms. Naylor, it's all going to be dependent upon how you answer questions, right? If you take up a lot of time, you know, pontificating and going off on tangents, then it's going to be long. If you want it, when I ask you a yes or no question and you answer it sincerely and just answer the questions as I ask them, then it'll go quicker. But I am entitled to examine you for up to 8 hours.
Okay. I think
She said 8 hours because up to 8 hours is what she's entitled to. She probably think we got to go for 12. I mean, Jan's going to sit there and dilly-dally and dawdle and like talk in circles for as much as she can based on what just happened in this hearing. I mean, this took 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 40 minutes almost. I mean, we're not even done listening to this. She keeps talking for another 14 minutes. But like, Jan can just go on and on and on trying to pretend she doesn't know the circumstances. And kind of like, you know, seeing Jan talk to the officers in that body cam footage. She'll just drone on and on and on about shit that doesn't matter, shit that isn't important. It's going to be a long 8 hours. I'd love to be a fly on the wall, but unfortunately, I cannot.
My phone may be about to die here.
All right. Well, we're off the record and we're concluding this matter. So I'll wait to hear from you for dates that you're available.
Understand one other thing, please. You know, some of the answers that I was also trying to give were to, you know, appease the crowd on the line so that they would not be going further into.
Hold on.
Well, that shouldn't color answer.
That's not appropriate at all.
We're off the record and we're concluding this matter. So I'll wait to hear from you for dates that you're available.
Understand one other thing, please. You know, some of the answers that I was also trying to give were to, you know, appease the crowd on the line so that they will.
You swore to tell the truth at the beginning of this hearing. This is a federal process. You can't do that just because you don't like people on YouTube who might be listening in. You entered into a public federal process, a court that you knew would be watched. And this is what you decided to do. And when the judge said, no, we're not going to let you just dismiss it, that was a risk you decided to take when you wanted to stop the foreclosure upon your house. Only temporarily, I might add, because I don't think that they're going to be able to put that off for much longer. But now this is a whole shit show. And yes, it's a very public one. So.
Would not be going further into.
Well, like, think about it. Celebrities and public figures, they don't get to just only say what they want to say or manipulate their answers under oath because fans or haters are listening in. That's not a thing.
That shouldn't color.
Grow up.
Your testimony should just be truthful and forthright, and you shouldn't be trying to change what you say or how you testify based on how people perceive it. So that's not really a good excuse for some of the evasiveness I saw here today. I think that one thing I do want to point out is that since you still have that GoFundMe up, you have to understand that while you're in this bankruptcy case, all of those funds become part of the bankruptcy estate. So you cannot, like, you really have to understand that once you filed this bankruptcy petition, you opened up yourself to the entire, mandate of the bankruptcy code and the procedures that you have to follow, right? You can't just file a bankruptcy to stop a foreclosure and then do whatever you want. So
this is obviously what they thought they were going to get away with. And then I believe it at one point, Jennifer was going to allow them to dismiss this case with a 1-year ban on refiling. And the judge said no. The judge says, I want an accounting on the GoFundMe. She said, no. I want you to look into this. The judge was not allowing that. And the stuff they're doing is so egregious and ridiculous. It's making a mockery of the system in a very public way, because their daughter is already under heavy scrutiny because of her 14 felony charges, was her parents enabled her in those crimes. Her parents are 100% complicit in everything that she's done to hurt people. And they've used their fake wealth to do it. And that's why they're in so much debt now. It's disgusting. Bruce says they can't shut down the GoFundMe. It's still bringing in money. They could take me out to dinner at the Italian restaurant. Oh my God. I mean, it's no House of Prime Rib, but they haven't shut down the GoFundMe. There are people who send in money every month. There's a recurring donation to the GoFundMe for some people. And so they still get money from people every month. And I don't know where it's going, but I'm going to say it's not going towards their credit or their debts, their creditors. Probably going to the daughters. So, too bad Laura won't be there to coach their answers when they go in person. What will they do? I don't know, man. I don't know. That's crazy. The whole thing's crazy. So, personally, I think they should give the recurring funds to Sarah Dawn for her birthday. If you guys missed it in the beginning of the stream, it is Jupiter Jane's birthday today. Everybody say happy birthday to Sarah. All right. We got another 13 minutes to go. We're almost there. We're in the home stretch.
You have this GoFundMe. If you have funds coming in, those all need to be set aside, and you shouldn't be paying any creditors. You shouldn't be paying anything that is not a necessary living expense for just you and your husband. Do you understand? Great. Did you
wait, oh my God. If I knew how to do a soundboard, I would put that on it. Wait. This and the from yesterday are perfect.
Anything that is not a necessary living expense for just you and your husband. Do you understand? Great. Did you hear what I said, ma'am?
I did.
Okay. So I want you to be mindful, because if the case gets converted to Chapter 7, any funds that came in while this case was in Chapter 11 will have to be turned over to the...
And I can't recall if it was Tiff or Patrick I was talking to recently where they said they think that's probably going to be converted. But I couldn't say that for sure. I don't understand the process enough, so I will not comment on that too much. But it sounds like that's a definite possibility. So,
Chapter 7 trustee. Okay.
But there are no funds.
I can't understand you. You sound like you're in a tunnel.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She's in the tunnel under the horse stalls where they stash all their money. I keep telling you guys. So they give the money. I'm kidding. I think I'm kidding.
Let me see.
No, I can't really hear you. Nope.
I'm sorry. All of the funds were gone a year and a half ago.
Well, I'm just talking. Yeah. I'm talking about the fact that the GoFundMe page is still up. So you still might be getting, and I could see, just anybody in the public can see who's donating and when. So,
yeah.
If there's money that still comes in, I don't know if people are still donating. If
they are, I think as recently as a couple days ago, they are. They're still getting money. Probably, I mean, I don't know. Let's take a look. And then we'll come back to we don't have too much longer left in this hearing, so let's take a look. Okay, let's see, I think it'll go by date, right? No, maybe not. Maybe it won't. 4 days ago, 15 days ago. All right. 2 days ago, 12 days ago, 2 days, 5 days. So since this hearing has happened, people are still donating money. And then you can see you have monthly donors here. So like I said, they're getting money every month from certain people. I don't know if there's anything else recent, but they are still getting money. Even if it's just a little bit of money, you're still taking money. And when you're in the middle of a process where you're getting called out for misleading donors to your GoFundMe, I think you might want to close that. It might be time to close that up, huh? You're not going to do yourself any favors by keeping that open at this point.
They are. I'm just telling you that money that's coming in from that source, you need to make sure that you...
I donated yesterday because I was curious. God damn it. If you're curious as to where your money is going, I think you can look no further than Guardian Law AZ, but that's just my prediction, okay? I can't prove that. That is my speculation. But that is just me. Wow. Okay.
Every dollar that you have of income into your account needs to be accounted for because you're in bankruptcy now. I just want you to be aware of that.
I'm going to leave that comment up for a minute.
Right. So you're saying it might be smart to just close the GoFundMe and then not leave it up there?
I think that's for you to decide. I can't tell you what to do, but I don't.
Bitch, it's been a week. Why haven't you closed it yet? I mean, she obviously can't tell them what to do. She can't give them legal advice, right? The fact that she's even being nice and trying to talk this through with them at this point, when they're off the record, it's a kindness. After all the frustration they just put her through, and it's obvious if you've listened to this woman talk this entire time that she thinks they should shut the GoFundMe down. But Jan is just kind of like, you're telling me there's hope because you can't tell me what to do? You're telling me there's hope? Oh.
I'm a little confused as to why you still have it up when you said you said that it was to get yourself out of debt so you didn't have to file bankruptcy, but yet you're in bankruptcy anyway. So it seems like it doesn't seem to align with what your stated purpose of the GoFundMe was, but that's for you to decide.
Well, I think she's going off of what they claim was the stated purpose of the GoFundMe, but I think we've established throughout the course of this hearing that the stated purpose of the GoFundMe was not actually what they ended up using it for. The stated purpose of the GoFundMe appeared to be helping Ron through hardships because of his medical issues, where we know now that only a couple $100 out of that almost $140K went towards medical bills, which is bizarrely misleading. And I'm very curious to know what the donors in the San Francisco area and what those people who are old fans of Ron not old like they're elderly, I mean old like they used to listen to his show, you know what I mean, fans of Ron on Facebook who say, oh my gosh, we're so sorry for what your family's going through, who genuinely believe that Laura is being smeared and that she totally didn't do what she's accused of. I wonder what they would have to say if they listen to this hearing, which they won't, because who wants to sit here and listen to 2.5 hours of this mindless, brainless, rotting shit? Okay, this has been horrible, but also hilarious. So I don't blame them for not listening to these public proceedings, but at the same time, I don't have a life, so I had to.
Right. Okay, so what, just so that I know when we do the other hearing, what specific areas are you wanting to further explore?
Well, the whole thing, all of them. It's going to be an anal probing in a metaphorical sense, not a literal sense. Jan, please. Do not call the police on me. I don't want anything to do with your hole. All right. Sorry about that.
Clearly, we need to sit down with the and look at the schedules you filed in the Chapter 13, the schedules you filed originally in this case, and then the schedules that were docketed yesterday. And we need to go through them. We're going to go through them line by line. And you're going to see, I want you to see the stark difference in the testimony under oath, because it's pretty apparent to me that you made false statements under oath.
That is going to be so fucking awkward. Because like you've heard Jan even on the phone, even when she got to pretend she didn't have the documents available to her so that she couldn't answer questions. When she's there and when they have these documents in front of her and they're confronting her with these questions, she's not going to be able to say, for 40 minutes and just get out of things. You know what I mean? Like she's going to have to answer these questions.
I mean, let's just assume for the sake of argument that the current amendment filed yesterday is the truth and nothing but the truth. Well, then your prior statements were clearly false. So that's number one. I need to go through those, and I need to go through the accounting with you because it just doesn't make sense.
No, of course it doesn't make sense. And I would ask you guys in the chat to let me know who thinks that they actually filed this and who thinks that Laura filed it. Because I honestly don't know. I mean, you would think she'd be better served by just getting a job, but I suppose that'd be hard when you're accused of 14 felonies on a background check. We'll see.
You know, you were ordered by the court to give me an accounting. It's not even like I asked for it. The court ordered this on the court's own decision, and yet you gave me something that I thought I could rely on, and then today you were kind of all over the place, not really admitting that what you gave me was a true accounting of how you expended the GoFundMe money.
Uh-huh.
So I need to delve into that because I'm not sure what purpose that was that you gave me that document if I couldn't rely on it to constitute an accounting of how you spent the GoFundMe money.
And remember too, this was on July 16th, 1 week ago, and they were supposed to turn in that filing by like June, I think it was like June 26th. It was end of June at least. And they waited till the last minute the night before. And even still, even after that, they couldn't answer these questions for Jennifer that day. And we have, like 8.5 minutes left of this hearing. And it doesn't get any less painful to listen to at this point.
And clearly I can't because one of the items was the Macy's, and you're saying that, no, that was not part of how we use the GoFundMe money, but that's what your accounting says.
Right. But and again, like I say, I was just trying to be able to say that, look, this money had gone out. And, yeah.
Well, I don't know what you were doing, but it's clear that this lacks any reliability because you're not standing by what it is titled. You're calling it an accounting of GoFundMe funds. But now you're saying that's
this is kind of like the equivalent of just like filling in bubbles on the Scantron sheet because you're running out of time and then hoping that you get some of the answers right. They didn't get any of the answers right. Jan didn't even color in the lines. They failed the test.
What it is. So I don't, that's a little bit frustrating. So I guess what I would ask, and I will inform the court if this isn't done, I would ask that you fix this and give me a proper accounting of exactly how the $132,528.36 of GoFundMe funds was expended.
Okay. But
I mean, I'm going to assume, and this is just my personal speculation again, that they spent that money right away as soon as they took it out of the account. And I think they know exactly where it went. But they did take it out of Ronn's account, put it into their other accounts to mix it up with the rest of their income so they could muddy the waters and try to make this more difficult to track. However, I think that payment to Sarah was extremely ill-advised. And I think that pretending that you don't know who Laura's criminal attorney is being paid by is also extremely ill-advised. I got to think at this point, it's probably Sarah. Maybe not, but at the very least, it's somebody they don't want us to know about because they're not supposed to be doing that, right? I do not believe for 1 second that the mother who, was apparently given the intimate details of a blowjob that her daughter gave does not know who's paying for her daughter, who's completely dependent on her. Her daughter's criminal defense attorney, when she's facing 14 felony charges in a way they claim impacts the family businesses. I mean, they claimed that the payment to her first criminal defense attorney was a business expense, basically, because of her reputation and her being the face of the businesses, the face that's apparently worth nothing, by the way, because we've seen that didn't exactly disclose any sort of productive income out of those businesses. Whether or not that was true, I don't know. But, you can't both say that this is extremely concerning to you and about you because it's how your family runs their business and it's important to that. And also, everything about your daughter's life backwards and forwards and you pay for everything she does. And then also say, oh, I don't know who's paying for her criminal defense attorney. By the way, I gave my other daughter $20,000 instead of paying back my creditors just because, I don't know, she was a lifeline. Like, no.
Again, just for my own information, I mean, please understand, I'm not trying to be contrary or anything like that, but.
Are you trying to be a dumb? Never mind.
Since this was spent long before we filed the Chapter 13 and long before we filed the Chapter 11, I don't understand why the GoFundMe, is pertinent at this point.
Okay, I understand that you don't understand. I don't know what to tell you about that. It is. I just don't know what to tell you about that. I mean, it's relevant. One of the things that actually concerns me is that you misappropriated GoFundMe funds and misled donors, and that opens you.
That's right, Jan. I feel misled. I want my $5 back.
Yourself up to potential claims, so we have to know whether or not the creditor class, whether you've properly identified all potential creditors. Because in
what sense? I mean, again, please, understand. I'm really not trying to be confrontational here. I really don't.
I understand you don't understand.
It's not that you're confrontational. It's that you're dishonest and, frankly, kind of stupid.
But I think, and maybe for a minute, just think about this. If you look at the posting on the GoFundMe, there's a suggestion that there are funds needed for medical expenses and because you're having financial troubles. And I think that it would be fair to assume, most reasonable people would assume that funds would then be used for paying bills that are necessary for your day-to-day living, paying for food, utilities, phone, groceries, medical.
But we pay for all of that at Macy's. I needed a new pair of cargo pants.
Things. I don't think it's reasonable to assume that donors would know or expect that GoFundMe money is being used to pay Macy's credit card bills. I don't think so. And I don't think it's reasonable for people who give money through GoFundMe to think that their money is being used to fund life insurance or ADT home security systems. I think that is something I need to explore because, like I said, there's a potential claim out there, and we need to see it, the extent to which you're.
And the home security system probably doesn't cost that much money, right? At least not enough for them to justify, we had to, spend GoFundMe money on this versus our pension, or we need to raise money for that. I've seen some people say it might be like $50 a month or something. And it might be more than that because they do have a property with a lot of, they have the horses and all that. So the stalls, and then they have the casita. So I don't know, it might be a little more than that, but it's not enough to justify a GoFundMe. Especially if you're claiming that the GoFundMe is for medical issues. They didn't technically say medical expenses, but a reasonable person would assume based on what they wrote that it is due to medical expenses that they are, financially in a hole, when the truth is because of their daughter and because of their enablement of her crimes.
Your schedules are accurate in terms of disclosing all potential claimants against you and Mr. Owens. That's just one.
But again, with regard to, like I say, the ADT thing, we have had death threats against us.
Well, that doesn't sound like that comes from the medical issues. It's
That's definitely true. That's definitely true. But also, I just want to say that I have never seen these death threats or these threats against their lives. And yes, people on the internet can be crazy. So I don't want to totally write off that they've ever, received negative messages. However, I don't think that I have ever witnessed anyone sending them any kind of threat, so like sending anything threatening that they had any proof of, or that was a credible threat at all whatsoever. And I've also seen Laura say some pretty egregious things, such as sharing a photo of her that she already shared, where she's wearing, a bra and trying to pretend to be pregnant and faking a pregnant belly. She called that revenge porn. That's not what that is. So this family has a tendency to exaggerate or outright misstate what things actually are. They have a tendency to, they lie. That's what they do. That's how they get away with things until this point.
It sounds like that might relate to what you call your smear campaign. And that's fine. You might feel like that's necessary. But my point, Miss Naylor, is that I don't think it's reasonable to put out a call on GoFundMe that talks about your husband's medical ailments, right, and then use that for home security system. That doesn't seem to be the kind of necessity. I mean, you said yourself in the accounting you gave me, you said itemized list of necessities. That's what you referred to it as. And I think it's a bit of a stretch to say that Macy's is a necessity, that life insurance is a necessity.
So Mary says, do we know if they had a Macy's Amex or if it was just a Macy's card? Amex can be used anywhere. It's accepted. Macy's can only be used for store purchases. I think it was an Amex. I think, but I'm not positive. It could have been a store card. However, store cards don't usually have a credit limit that high. So I'm going to say it was very likely the Amex, but I'm not 100% positive. So we'll have to double check on that. But yeah. I don't know. The whole thing is just absurd.
That ADT home.
We're almost there, guys.
Is a necessity. I mean, that just goes beyond what I think is reasonable.
Well, the ADT thing also, with regard to the medical alert, there is a sweetie, please don't stand up. Please,
Okay, I understand that you're trying to explain it, but it doesn't make sense to me. So, you're not addressing the Macy's or the life insurance. So the bottom line is that the judge wanted you to give me an accounting of the GoFundMe funds. She ordered it. So I feel that based on the court's order for that document, it is my obligation as a trial attorney for the U.S. trustee to fully examine the accounting. And that's what I was trying to do, but I was stopped because I was not able to fully examine it with you, because you're basically denying what it is that you provided to me was an actual itemization of how you use the GoFundMe money.
Yep.
So we're going to have to get to the bottom of that in a setting where I can put in front of you your own documents. And then you could say, well, you're saying that I don't see it. Well, we won't have that problem if you're in here and I'm putting papers in front of you. So, I mean, that's the best I can offer you in terms of an explanation as to why the GoFundMe is relevant. I mean, clearly the judge thought it was relevant. So if I were you, I would not question it anymore, because the judge thought it was irrelevant enough to order that you provide me an accounting. Okay?
Right.
Okay, Miss Naylor? I'm not hearing anything in response.
I think this is
okay.
Saying the phone died or whatever.
I think her phone died.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's it. Then I'm going to hang up. Thank you all for joining us.
It's just like, fuck you. I'm out. We finally made it to the end, guys. And that was not an easy listen or a short listen. So thank you for sticking around with me through these. I guess it took us like a total of like 5 hours to do everything. Today, we got through that last half an hour in a relatively short time compared to others, but other streams that we've done. I mean, the first one was the 2 hours with Bruce. The second one was the 2 hours yesterday, and this was the hour today. If you guys could hit the like button for me, it helped me out a lot. I'm actually going to send you over to my friend Jack Fox. His live doesn't start for another 27 minutes, but you can set the notification to go for when he goes live, or you can chat in the live chat over there. And please tell Jack that I sent you and that I said hello. He's a really cool guy. He's got a lot of neat insights into not just this case, but a lot of other cases as well. I just want to say here, Lib and Mr. Ducks, thank you for the 30 gems. Michelle, thank you for the 30 gems. Buffy Lynn, thank you for the 30 gems. And Tom Stan 84, thank you for the 10 gems. I didn't even know what gems were until a couple days ago. So thank you very much. I've been getting a lot of those. All right. Well, thanks everyone for stopping by. And when I hit end on this stream, it's going to give you a redirect link at the top of the chat to Jack Fox. Please feel free to stick around for him, and I'll see you next time. All right. Bye.